What does katana mean? It means Japanese sword. 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 Sword.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Nut Zone.
I'm Pickle Rick!
But I'm Pickle Neck.
It's like a radio host.
I'm gonna be real honest with you.
It's perfect.
You said you had
right?
a spicy one. I was super nervous. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, we like to keep it tasteful from time to time, Steve.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
I know from the last one where it was loud as shit, I was expecting
Yeah.
louder and more low bass.
Yeah. I don't want to buy into it, but ever since Nick mentioned that, what was the line? Steve is a boomer, part 2 or whatever, two episodes ago. I've been finding more and more that I think I am kind of a boomer in the mental capacity of things that I don't like.
And
You were
Nick is
born in
finding
the
himself
wrong
to be
era.
more of a zoomer.
More of a zoomer, yeah.
I will say that as well for Tin, who is not able to make it to this cast, but it's just the type of humor that, you know, is kind of like the divide of the internet, where like you have like old school memes like the lol cheeseburger cat and stuff. That's like millennial, like growing up millennial humor.
Yeah.
But then like Zoomers kind of like were in that environment, but then they were like reaching an internet where there was like nothing new to say, and so it all became like ironic and like all these like short form memes that don't make any sense, and it's just kind of like how the world doesn't make any sense.
Sounds pretty sus, dude.
Yeah,
Kind of like
AMOGUS.
AMOGUS.
Yeah, I don't get all that. We played that game like before it just went crazy, like a little bit, right? And we kind of had fun with it. We didn't do very well.
It was like going crazy while we were playing
in the midst of it. Yeah,
like, we didn't know how big AMOGUS was going to be.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's T-shirts. Elliot, you got me for Secret Lanta one year. I think it was this last time. A AMOGUS like gift packet of like buttons and stickers and like a T-shirt and a bag and all kinds of
right.
A bunch of shit that you were
that's
gonna
really
use, but it's perfect.
It's like you just gave the boomer of our friend group a bunch of Among Us, which is even more funny. Like
You should sport that at work. All of
So
it.
you bought your grandfather a Game Boy.
watch your grandfather a Game Boy.
I will say we were
What the hell
on
is
the
this?
cutting edge of Gangnam Style, because like I distinctly remember that we like had that on loop at one particular get together, and that was before it like really hit the US. It was
That's
like
cringy to think about.
that
On loop.
When I was
that's just a phrase. It wasn't truly on loop.
Yeah. Still, but like I can
thought
still
it
see
actually
us doing
was.
that.
it was really
Yeah.
big when I was we were in college. I was up in up north doing college, and like that was like a hit song you'd hear driving around, like you just hear Gangnam Style playing around.
Yeah,
like,
and
just
Macklemore Thrift Shop would come on right after.
Oh,
I was never a huge
yeah.
fan of that song, honestly.
I was iffy on it. Now it's like a nostalgia thing where I enjoy it more because of nostalgia. I'm like, damn, I had a lot less to do back then, but
Wait until it starts making you feel old.
oh, bro.
At one point, did we all stop liking Skrillex? Because at one point it was like the dubstep, kind of like in mainstream.
2011, 12.
And like a switch was flipped, and I heard Kyoto again for however many times, and it just no longer enticed me at all.
Dude, I occasionally still listen to Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites.
I like the start of it,
It's
and
not
then
a
it just
bad
starts to make
song.
me feel bad.
Bwah, boom, bwah, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Yeah.
Like, that's not music.
Oh,
I like went in and out with dubstep, really.
Charles was the
don't
original
know.
dubstepper, dude.
Dude,
You
He
were.
was double
Charles
stepping all the
liked
way up the bank.
dubstep before everyone else. I'll give him that. He hopped on that like bandwagon before everyone else got into it.
yeah, and then I started hating it before everyone else too.
Yeah, that's because it got popular and Charles like this ain't my scene.
No, it got
It ain't a
popular, and
perfect
I was
life,
just.
but it's my life.
It was more of the scene. I hated the scene.
Oh, what you don't
This-
like Skyway?
No, I just hated the scene the most because it was like, oh, the music's pretty cool. It's so different. Because I was like, I mean, I like extreme music because you know, and once it turned into like, you know, Molly, Molly and acid, fucking candy bracelets, goddamn plur.
You just sneak a little bit of
I forgot
beat
about
long into there, Elliot.
I forgot about
The what?
plur. No, that was me.
Started...
That was me, Nick.
Oh,
That was me. I was trying to do the Molly song, but like bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah.
Bum, bum.
I listened to that song.
The one that I know.
I don't sell Molly no more, like fairly often. You guys know what I'm talking about? Or
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
I saw,
in love with a Coke.
Not Fest, the annual Slipknot get together.
Yeah.
Was held in Iowa again this year, and apparently they had a bunch of like vendors or something back out, or at least that's the cover story. So of course, they had enough staff coverage for all of the beer tents, but they only had one water tent for 30,000 people.
Oh God,
that's ridiculous.
So you had 2-hour lines to get water, people passing out, and it was apparently not a great time.
That's one thing. I never disliked Slipknot, but I've definitely, like from high school to now, I've learned to love them like way more than I did back then. Like I started from a point of just like, oh yeah, they got like one good song, and I thoroughly enjoy like most of Slipknot.
Like, do you listen?
I've noticed that I ended up just like over listening to Slipknot.
Yeah, they were like my original band, dude.
Yeah. That
Fifth
like
grade
Sevenfold.
Iowa album, or I think it was called. No. What the fuck was it called?
Subliminal Verses, Volume 3?
The one before that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the one that had Left Behind on it and like Duality?
I believe so. It's where they're all dressed in red. I can picture it, but I can't remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Was it Heretic? No. Doesn't matter. Skip past
Heretic
it.
is on that song.
Yeah.
I will say of
Or
that kind of genre / era of music, I honestly do think Linkin Park has aged decently.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising, but I think it's aged relatively well, which you wouldn't expect, I don't think. But
if you take away like the meme factor of it, 100%.
I
think the meme factor of it for a while kind of helped it.
I still think Hybrid Theory is one of the best albums of all time.
I was literally about
Hybrid
to
Theory,
not the best album
like
of all time, but I was literally about to say that I think Hybrid Theory is like actually a very good album. Like,
it's one of my like
all time
favorite albums for sure. I think it's up there. Just like, I mean, it came out so long ago. I remember when it came, like when I had the CD. It was crazy.
Yep.
I remember listening.
What was the first CD you guys bought? Do you guys remember the first CD you ever bought?
It was either
Green Day,
Rob Zombie,
that's a classic,
or Blink 182. It was one of those two.
Mine was.
Oh,
go ahead.
This is the Midwest thing, by the way.
No, you.
I'll go.
No,
this is
you
can tell we're from the
was a
Midwest.
gift from my cousin. My very first one was a gift from my cousin. It was Dookie, Green Day. And then I was given a gift from someone that we all know. And it was Korn. I think it was it Freak on a Leash? Was that the name of that one?
Was that EK or
it was TD.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We used to be boys back in the day. Gave me that, and then it was a Disturbed CD, and then I just listened to them for years and years.
Honestly, and this is kind of how above it all I am, above all of you. I think it was Dream Theater.
That's so lame.
Oh,
that is. Whatever, Dad.
Sick.
No, I have listened to him. Progressive metal is just not my thing. I get its preference.
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know. That wasn't the first CD I bought. That was like gifted to me. I'm pretty sure. But I remember that's the only one that I remember like physically having.
Okay.
The first one I ever bought with my own money was Avril Lavigne.
I'm not even against
that. Was the first
that.
album I ever
listen
bought.
to her still.
Yeah.
She's still coming out with new music.
Really?
I think way after that, I bought the first album I bought, like, when I started listening to real music. Was Crack the Sky by Mastodon. That's a...
And he still requests it to this day.
Everyland. That is such a good fucking album.
The first CD I bought was Hinder, Lips of an Angel.
Yeah.
With my actual money, I spent money on Lips of an Angel. I dare any of you to tell me that Lips of an Angel isn't an absolute fucking banger.
No, I'm with it.
It's a banger.
7th grade, dude. I listened to that album so much.
Yeah.
What's that one song by Seether? Oh, Broken.
And bro,
Broken,
yeah,
Remedy.
That's good.
Yeah, that's just top tier right
Get down.
there.
Yo.
You ready for a hot take though? And I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I'm the only one in this camp. I think Nickelback is getting shafted for no reason.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They
100%. I
have a
agree
bunch
with
of
you.
amazing songs like Saving Me. I think is phenomenal. The dude's got chops. He's a bit of a douchebag, but he's got chops. He can sing. They have a couple of strange choices in song making, like "Here Comes the Next Contestant." Like, I'm not a big fan of that song, right? Or like, "I like your pants around your feet."
I like that.
You're
song.
40. You're 40 years old, dude.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
he
what are
wrote
you?
that when he was
They
way
weren't
younger.
40 when they
Alright,
recorded
alright,
that, though. That was like 15
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, Silver
They probably
Side
don't
Up
play that
came
one
out when
at,
I was like in second
concerts.
grade or earlier.
Really?
Yeah. That
All
shit's
right.
old.
All right.
I will say one of the funniest moments of all time for me from like a Vine video was the one where like the Nickelback singer is like his face is like distorted, and then he goes, "Look at this graph!"
I loved that one.
Dude,
Yeah.
oh my
It was
God,
like a
amazing.
12-minute compilation of just different words that sounded like graph. Or not even that. There was like food and like look at this meme. My favorite though, you remember the Team Fortress 2 source filmmaker edit with the scout and like the photograph dropping? And then when it
Oh, yeah,
lands,
yeah.
it's just like dick butt. It's so great.
Yeah, that's one 10 would appreciate.
Yeah.
God, may you rest in peace.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead this week. He'll be alive next
He's
week. though.
he's
We're
at a
gonna resurrect
concert
him.
or something, right?
Yeah, he's going to see. No, he's going to a game,
Baseball.
baseball game. Yeah.
Oh, baseball game. Wait, Ben was at a concert on Monday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but the fans don't know
and
that.
for our
'cause this is
viewers,
coming out on Monday.
we're recording later. We're a few days late on our recording, but you won't. You'll know now, but it won't make.
We
an effect on
intended
that
to
content.
reschedule,
other than
and
Tim
then
not being here, but
There was, complications.
But yes, I went to Jukebox the Ghost.
Is that the song by
did you like
Journey?
it?
Yes, I did. You've
What
probably never
what kind
heard of
music
him.
is that?
I have not.
Yeah.
It's sort
Where
of.
did you see him?
Somewhere in Minneapolis.
In a
Don't ask me.
basement?
No, it was a real place. It was.
Oh.
It's kind of
Street
pop.
entry, maybe.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
It was kind of pop rock. It's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
You were probably at the same venue that I went to the Death Grips concert, where I was originally supposed to go with you, Ben, but then you backed out because you're a coward. But that's fine.
Well,
I had a
don't worry,
good time by myself.
We'll be going to the next one together.
Yeah. Honestly, that period might be behind me in life, because I remember it was like in the middle of winter, and I like wore a sweatshirt because I didn't trust anyone in the venue to like wear a jacket and then take my coat off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like in there, just like a fucking sauna, just melting inside of this sweatshirt, but just like not caring because, I was feeling the music. And
Just
then
feeling something.
the MC Ride, the headman of Death Grips, like grabbed onto this rafter at one point and leaned out, and I just like instinctively like reached up, and he was shirtless at the time, and I just sort of like touched his chest, and it was just like, wow,
That's cool.
I
I like that you
that's my top
paused
moment
to
from
clarify. He was shirtless at the time.
Well,
Okay.
right, because that really makes the
Well, I
whole.
was
How many
Sorry.
how many ribs could you? How
It was
many
hot
abs
in
could
there,
you see?
duh.
It was
my two counters, Nick. First off, most pictures of MC Ride I've seen, he is shirtless.
yes.
Yeah, I've
so
barely
that-
seen that guy with a shirt on.
Doesn't
Second
know
off,
any.
what?
Yeah. And then the other thing, they had to stop at one point because they took like a brief break, because if you know anything about Death Grips, it's very high intensity music. Like you can't keep that
Yeah.
up for like more than half an hour at a time. And so the drummer, like I could literally see his drumsticks were sitting in a pool of sweat. Like I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
God,
their
how
drummer
turned
was
on were
you?
insane.
There was a girl in the front row who, and I think she got away with this because she was a girl, like quick, just kind of like shimmied up onto the stage, grabbed the drumsticks, and just ran away, just left. And so then the show had to be paused for like 5 minutes while they found another pair of drumsticks.
I was gonna say find some drums, go out to the van.
That stuff kind of annoys me. Like you see it. There's a few videos of like comics or whatever on stage, and not just women, but like anyone will just get up on stage and think they're funny and try to get involved in the show and not just be a normal person and sit back and watch it. Like, what are you doing on there? It's not your spotlight. Like, what are you doing?
Because they want to be recorded. They want to
Yeah,
be famous.
is it like an attention horror kind of thing?
Probably.
Tactical
Or
nuke
they're just
incoming!
It's 8
alert.
years deep, and somebody either dares them.
Merch alert.
Go ahead and buy our I Hate Women shirt and wear it to your next concert, because then that's the only way that you can thought patrol. Keep in mind all the proceeds are going to domestic violence.
Thank you. I was just going to chime in. It's very important to note that this is not in support of domestic violence. We are trying to fight it.
Let's get those men out of prison.
And into a bigger prison. And into a bigger prison with bigger doors. Thank you, Elliot. I'll clarify for you. We'll keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
But did they do anything to cause it?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Do we have any new? I mean, have we actually printed any shirts yet? Do we have a page, Ben?
No, the page is... Well, by the time the listener is listening to this, in all likelihood, we'll have a page.
Right, we'll cut all this.
We'll
cut all this out. No big deal.
We're not cutting any of this out, by the way. But you know,
as soon as you say cut it out, it gets stuck in.
Gets glued into
Unless
place.
We say
you can no longer
yeah.
cut it.
Yeah.
Especially if you start throwing stuff in like
guacamole, make a peanut.
Oh Lord, I don't get it. I don't understand
stays.
it. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
It's fine.
It's the reaction that keeps it going, though.
Was a GNP? Does that actually stand for something?
it's a
planned
product.
I was gonna go genetically modified produce.
Genetically,
it's our own
produce.
You were GNP. You were gonna go genetically modified produce.
Yeah.
That's the wrong.
We'll just call that
consonant.
A GMP would be modified produce.
We'll just make our own energy supplement and call it GNP.
You know, people talk a lot about GNP, but what about AMD? And how about the fact that all of you keep buying AMD processors for your computers?
Who wants to kill them,
dude?
Because
they're faster.
Okay, but I will give the exception to you, Charles, because you do a lot of like rendering. But for all of these other kids,
and I like big numbers.
There is no actual reason when you are gaming to choose an AMD processor,
which is generally cheaper than Intel. That does better.
I think you're looking at the wrong comparisons. The one I have, for example, i5 10600K. You stack that up against a AMD processor of equivalent dollar value, call it $275.
Slay it.
Yes, exactly. That's
Elliot's
what I'm
computer is
saying.
going to slay yours.
Yeah.
Because the thing. Okay,
well, how
so
much
the thing
did the
is like
5800 cost.
The 5800 was
3600
or 30 or it was $90 more than Elliot's on the sale, so it was 360.
But ours do the same
270.
gaming performance.
Nick, how many cores does yours have?
Oh my god.
Just answer.
Yeah, how many cores do you have?
My point is that the cores does not actually matter in most use cases.
But I'm saying that the AMD is now just cheaper and better than Intel, like at every price point. I think at the very top end of consumer PCs, Intel, I think still
actually AMD has
it
because of Threadripper.
It's still AMD.
AMD's got it because of Threadripper. Yeah.
All right.
There hasn't been like an Intel CPU to outperform an AMD CPU for a couple of years. And if we're going to talk about price points, it's like that comes down to like build specificity, you know?
Yeah.
Like for me, so you want to know what? So this is what happened when we went to Micro Center. I did a bunch of research before me and Elliot went because we were both, I wanted to get a new CPU for my birthday because I just like upgrading my computer when I can. And Elliot is building a new computer, and we were both looking at AMD processors because they just recently price adjusted them, so they're at what they're supposed to be at release, pretty much. So Elliot got the 3600X, which is a 6-core, 12-thread processor that turbos up to like 4.5. 5600X?
Yeah.
And then, so that's the 6-core. It turbos up to like 4.5 or something like that, which is usually kind of what you're looking at for gaming performance is your single core boost. The thing is, it's like these new, so I went from a 2700X to a 5800X. I went 2 gens up pretty much, or 1 Zen generation like for AMD, and then 2 architecture shifts up. The thing is with the new AMD chips that are killing the Intel chips right now. Intel used to be great with like their hyper threading and single core boost clocks. AMD now just kills them. I mean, this processor, I have it all set on auto with an AIO, like a really nice AIO on it.
Okay, so
And
that's
clocks
part
up.
of it. I mean, just keep that in mind that like you are doing aftermarket shit, which I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing. I'm just saying
I have
it is
I have a
aftermarket.
$200+ water cooler on
Yes,
it. Yeah,
exactly. That's
but
my
I had that on
point.
my old one.
Okay,
Well,
but you can't.
I had that on my
You're
old
not.
one
You're not
anyways.
doing apples to apples. Then is my thing. I'm
30
not. I'm
second-
not saying that Intel in general is better. I'm just saying that like apples to apples, if you're going to compare price point to performance, I think it's a wash up. Like at worst. Or a
30-second
washout at worst.
breather.
Yeah, towards
30-second
AMD,
breather.
and AMD
All right, Steve.
wins.
Steve has the floor.
First of all, I forgot that we pushed your birthday podcast from Monday to this day. So happy birthday officially
That is
on the
absolutely
cast.
true. Happy birthday.
And second of all,
Thanks.
I've lost track of the battle lines. So who's on whose team and who wants
It's
your
everyone
boy to
versus
jump in
Nick.
with a hot take?
Round
It's
one,
really-
fight.
Oh, you actually
Yeah.
have a. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, throw his hands.
That's where I'm coming from.
So
All right,
I'm
I'm gonna
pretty
be
sure everyone's
on-
on AMD until everyone's on AMD right now, except for Nick.
I'll go.
Okay,
I'll
I'll
go
go
on
on
Nick's
team.
two
I'll go on
arms
Nick's
and
team.
fight
I
you.
got-
all.
got your back, Nick.
On
cool.
Team AMD and Intel, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, you just have an Intel processor. The same reason Travis does, I think.
Yep.
'Cause you guys got the Intel Edge thing, yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, at that rate, I would do the same thing. And I was telling Elliot, like, hey, you should get this 5600X and don't worry about the 5800X because I'm going to spend the extra $90 because I can't go home without an 8-core. Because I'm not going from an 8-core to a 6-core. That's not how my brain works.
I
gotta
understand
go
that.
up.
So what did you end up getting, Elliot?
I went with the 6-core one.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
here's my two
5600.
biggest arguments for AMD, just ignoring everything else. One, AMD is now ahead of Intel in creating smaller processing chips like nanometer technology.
Well, one
They
thing to
went
note.
past them. Hold on. And number two, they also don't switch the goddamn CPU socket every time they
That's a
release
big
a new
thing.
chip.
But
Nick,
also
the
you
key
do-
thing is you got to remember AMD skipped a die size on Intel. Like it was a huge risk, and they dunked on them with it.
Wasn't it on the
That's fair.
5800? It was the 5 series or the 5000 series Ryzen that they did that, right? They
Yeah.
went straight from. They went. It was like from 14 to 7, like right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, AMD kind of like they kind of threw a Hail Mary with that, but
And they
it's
landed
it's
it.
working. They landed it really, really heavy because I don't know. You know when when you upgrade and you really I don't know how often you guys upgrade honestly, but for me, like when I get a new part, I'm like, if I gain 10% performance from just swapping one part out, unless it's a GPU, obviously. GPUs are like, if I threw a 3080 Ti in this thing, I'd see like 80% more gaming performance, but I don't have another grand to throw in this computer at the moment.
My philosophy has always been, and you can, I think Ben will vouch for me, is I buy the very possible best that I can in that moment, and then I don't worry about it for 5 years.
That's solid.
And that's
I
just
can't
the way I
can't
do it.
that.
Unless like a power supply goes out or whatever, or a new game comes out. Like I think I had to buy my 560. My first graphics card was a 560 Twin Frozer that we bought.
Yeah.
When was that, Ben?
Okay, so funny story. Did you give your twin Frozer to is that the one Logan ended up with?
Maybe. I don't know what I
Okay,
did with
For
it.
his LAN rig?
Yeah. Or well, so it ended up. I don't remember if it went to either Justin or I think it went to Justin then,
Okay.
and then I think from Justin it went to Logan.
What
And
card
now
is
it went-
it?
That thing works, dude.
560 Ti Twin Frozer. So here's the kicker: it's still running. It's in
Oh.
Anna's build
Yeah.
now.
That thing, dude. whoever the engineer was for that card or whatever, they fucking nailed it. Like that was a great card.
The
That's a
200
pretty
series.
golden age of parts.
I will say for the on AMD's side here, the 200 series cards were also very good. The 270 and the 290 and whatnot.
Yeah,
At least
those were
I ran
baller
those in my
cards
old
at the time.
computer for quite a while.
I had a 290X for a while, and now it's in Brady's girlfriend's computer, and I gave it to him, and he just expected to get it for free, I guess, but
Well,
it's
did
still
you
a
ask for
GPU.
money from them, or
Well, I was like, hey, make sure it works, and then it must be working. Because he hasn't said a fucking thing. Well, he doesn't get into TeamSpeak. So,
Well,
like,
I mean, the listeners, like from the last episode, like the amount of time that Brady was in the podcast, that's about how much he talks to us. So
yeah,
that's about all the time we got for
girlfriend and cat takes a lot of time. Apparently, he's new to it, so
I miss Brady.
He'll figure it out.
Brady, if you're listening to this, we'll hold the boombox up for you.
We miss you, and it's not your fault, buddy. We love you.
The one thing I will say, like, if we're gonna get back to the AMD versus Intel thing, I don't hate Intel CPUs. Like, I am AMD fanboy to my core because I've been that way for a long time. But Intel, it's the thing is, it's like Ryzen's still, or AMD is still coming up with like the AGPUs, and now they're getting into like laptops and stuff. I used to say Intel's great for like the lower power consumption, like well, also integrated graphics are cool too on all, like, most of the Intel stuff. I think aren't they trying to do away with that though, like doing the integrated graphics?
I mean, they just flat out lost to AMD in the integrated graphics battle, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I'm saying for like too. If we're talking like purpose-built machines, like if you're just, it's like any work computer or something like that that's not doing rendering, not doing 3D rendering, like Intel stuff usually does fine. Like, and they usually have a lower TDP from what I remember.
Because true anymore, is it?
It is.
I don't know how the gap has closed, like with higher end ones, because like this processor is 105 watt fucking TDP, which is insane.
The only other thing I'll say is like having to do with the MOBO itself, the motherboard. And I understand that, you have like some more advanced features on a lot of the other motherboards that I forget if it's the LGA or the other one, but the one that supports the new AMD processors versus the ones that don't. But I just like looked at that when I was building my new computer, and I was just like, I don't need this. Like, I have an NVMe slot. I have like enough, RAM support that I don't need to be able to have all these bells and whistles. And then it was going to cost like an extra $70 for an equivalent motherboard that would be able to support that.
With motherboards, it's not even support for things. It's your power facing,
But like literally the socket is different. Like the type of thing that you need to put the CPU on is different between if you got this Intel one that I got versus the latest AMD ones.
Well, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I was building an entirely new clean build, and so I had to look at all that. It wasn't like I was just like...
So I would make the argument that whatever you were looking at, I mean, it just sounds like you were looking at high end to me, because I got my motherboard yesterday for $110.
I paid $200 for mine like a couple of years ago, but I bought like a nice motherboard. Like I wanted to get. I usually like look at what I can afford, and then
here's my counter. Nick, did you pick your parts on PCPartPicker.com?
Well, that's not where I bought them.
But is that where you selected them?
I mean, sure, that's where I built the actual thing. Look at the link that I just posted, and I don't know if it makes sense to throw this up or not. But this is a comparison between Elliot's thing and my thing, and I'm that's what I'm saying, is that it's essentially equivalent.
And how much was your processor?
I mean, at the time, I bought it at the wrong time. I have awful timing when it comes to buying these things. At the time, it was like 270, basically.
Mine.
That's how much Elliot paid for his.
Mine was like 260 when I bought it. Because if you buy it with the motherboard, you get $10 off.
But if you look at this right now, I mean, you just bought it the other day, right?
Yeah.
If you're buying the Intel one now, they're quoting it at 220. And granted, that's only a $50 difference. But I'm just saying, I think that the whole, like, people are like very much like AMD is like far and away like everybody should just build an AMD computer. There's no reason to build an Intel computer. Like every single build I see nowadays is that. My position is I don't think they're like far and away clear the winner. I think there are cases where it makes sense to build one of these, and that's my TED talk.
How much of the comparison is based on like the very like most minimal percentage of performance though, or is there a clear winner in like rendering, or is it like, oh yeah, you're 3% better with AMD versus Intel?
Well,
or is
that's
it
my
just
thing,
clear?
is
Is
that
it
it's
a
like-
blowout?
Yeah, I
Is my
think
question.
We
AMD,
also got to look at architecture.
and I will
you gotta
concede that
also look at
AMD is better
architecture.
in those points, but like in real life use cases where like how many of us are doing that kind of work
That's
on
my
our
point as
computer
well. Yep.
is like I don't think anybody is, except for, like I said before, probably Charles.
Right.
So I don't see the
That same philosophy, Nick. On that note, in a different genre, when you look at like highly competitive games or like the Mythic or World First rating stuff, a lot of times the raters will say, "Hey, yeah, this class is shit," but what they mean by that is it's 1.5% worse than this class. Like it's not much. It's just like you want to maximize it to the very peak of its ability, but most people are not going to be playing that way or using their computer that way. Is the relation that I would make. I don't know
Well,
what
you
Nick's
got to
saying
look
about
at also. You got to look at architecture. You got to look at RAM speeds, especially with AMD. I mean, there's a lot of. It's not, and that's why I don't really like these like comparison websites, because these performance metrics, like if you look at mine when I do my user benchmark, I mean, I sent that to you, Nick. I'm like 140, 110, 140, 128 or something like that for the percentages. And like my computer isn't like over the top, I would say. It's just tuned pretty well. Right now I haven't really messed with my CPU that much because it's brand new and it's running fantastic on auto.
That
always feels good.
I should
yeah.
bring up one thing. Overclocking is practically dead at this point. There like really isn't a purpose.
How so?
There's no purpose.
Yeah,
but
there's
I mean,
not really a purpose, no.
And the minuscule amount you can push out of these is really
It's
not
more for
worth
the
it.
enthusiast, really. That's why I kind of went with the 5800. Like, yeah, like Elliot said earlier, his processor compared to mine, when in games, they're exactly the same. But that's more coming down to like the actual management of resources when it comes to these CPUs.
And
But-
they only use 4 cores most of the time, right?
Yeah, well, for the most part, yeah. Most games will use four cores, but like Total War, Warhammer 2, like that's a heavy CPU game, like a lot of stuff like that. But it's, for me, the big difference between this 5600X and the 5800X is that I think the 5600X is like an 85 or 65 watt TDP. So it doesn't have that insane. Yeah, yours has a
Mine's
lower, so that's
65.
good. Yeah, 65 compared to my 105.
Yeah.
So I have a lot more heat to manage, and that's why they sell these without a heat sink, because they know the stock heat sinks that come with like the new AMD processors won't be able to handle those cards, because they're throwing like my last processor it was turboing up to 4.3 gigahertz, and it was hitting 1.5 volts on the. And for our listeners who don't overclock computers, basically, I just realized I'm going
You've
on a
been
rant,
zoning
but
out for this entire segment.
yeah, this is that nerd segment.
Should we talk about something else quick?
Well, what I'm saying is that
Finish your
these
thought,
things take a lot of power. This one takes a lot of power too, but I bought this one instead of the one Elliot has because I like screwing with them more, and this one has more headroom if I actually wanted to throw. Like, this might be the first processor I might be able to get to 5 gigahertz, like to a boost clock, and not have it be have it be on like a custom water cooling loop like 2 builds ago that I had. But this thing turbos up to 4.8 gigahertz on single core, like on its own. I haven't seen it hit over 85 degrees Celsius doing benchmarks. Like, it's eating, dude.
So
Speaking of
basically,
taking a lot of power, it takes me a lot more power these days to get up from the ground after being in a kneeling or laying down position. I don't know about you guys. My knees have been, I don't know if it's getting old or maybe just a bad knee genetic type thing, but like I hear sounds that sound like they're coming out of a fucking horror movie when I stand up.
Dude,
I don't know
think
about you
it's 'cause
guys.
you're
Oh, yeah,
a
my knees
tech.
crack
You
and my
work
hips
on 'em,
crack.
dude.
That's
You're-
probably part of it. It's bad knees, bad ankles, and then my calves recently have been getting like some, not like some like just like a pinching in the muscle kind of thing, like a pain. And it's because like you're on ladders, and those are all the muscles you're using to stay on it and not fall off.
Okay, that's
And
crazy.
it's getting to be a problem, I think.
My lower back, yeah, but I've never once thought, oh shit, my knee or ankle or anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, if we combined our 2 issues together, we might be a superhero.
You might be some kind of superhero. We can't walk, we can't lift things, but we got super brains. Is what we got going.
Elon Musk, give us exoskeletons.
Yeah.
I can't wait, dude, for that. That is actually strange.
What if you have to get them like?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. When I think of exoskeletons, you ever see like Elysium? That movie Elysium.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. It's
not the greatest movie, but it's a cool movie nonetheless. It's like a standalone. Like, this is a neat idea. But there's an exoskeleton that Matt Damon wears in it, but he has to get it like grafted to his bones and shit. Would you be down with that if you could get an exoskeleton?
Yes. I would take any cybernetic augment in the world.
Ben just wants cyber. He wants cyber dick. Let's be honest. He wants fucking
piston penis.
Yeah, he wants piston penis that gets Wi-Fi.
I want an extra 2 inches.
From Search and Destroy, or from,
I want an extra 2 inches so I can hit double digits.
I mean 3 digits.
All my homeboys be hung.
Is true. Yeah. The nut zone is all packing.
Yeah. What, you think we named this the podcast for nothing? Nah.
Nah.
You thought we playing, huh?
Speaking of movies, if you viewer, if you enjoyed movies such as Hereditary and Midsommar, you might not know about The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. It's a short film. It's probably best to go into it knowing nothing at all about it, but because no one is going to listen to that and they want to know about it, it's about a boy who serially rapes his father over the course of a decade.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, did I talk about this
movie.
at Lamb?
What? No,
is it a horror movie?
I've heard about this from somewhere.
You brought
before.
it up, but I've seen a clip from it, and I was.
What's his dad doing? Just push him off.
When you shared that hyperlink, I was like, this movie sounds really fucking familiar. Because I didn't click on it because I was thinking about watching it, and then I never came back to it. But yeah,
honestly, they're like, it's basically how far can you take like an initial like misunderstanding and then turn it into just something horrific. Because the initial
go until they're like way older or something like that. Like
the whole thing is he initially comes into the 12-year-old kid's room, sees him masturbating, and there's like a 2-minute sequence where he's like, it's perfectly natural. You know, everybody does this. You don't have to be afraid about doing it. Sexuality is individual, and everyone might feel differently, and it's okay to, be into weird things. Like that's the gist, right? And then the dad leaves the room, and what he doesn't realize is the kid is masturbating to a picture of him, of his own father. I saw. And so then it kind of spirals out from there. But a great. I wouldn't call it great. But
was the father
you
like?
could watch it. It's out there.
Did he have like some sort of an ailment of some kind, like a brittle bone disease, or like muscle atrophy or something?
He just took it.
The kid just like, well, as he grows up, he becomes like a.
It was kind of like a it's like a many-year gaslighting thing.
There's a gap. It? Okay, I thought you.
Yeah, it's like
I thought you were talking
the first
about
night that he like
Friday
actually rapes his dad,
and then Saturday he's in that ass. Like,
no, it's like the first night he actually does it is like prom night or something.
Okay.
So like he's like a strapping
he's in
young
his
man.
room alone masturbating to his dad on prom night.
We've
all been
there. That's when he rapes his dad.
Takes his dad home.
The fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ.
So if you want a light viewing on a Tuesday night,
a light viewing.
Same director as Hereditary and Midsommar.
And it's over in 30 minutes.
Fact. Yeah, it's over in 30 minutes.
Get it done. Good Lord. I did not, from the title and the brief bit you said about it before the podcast, I did not see that coming as a premise.
Seemed kind of wholesome.
I figured it was good to not say too much about it beforehand.
Yeah, that was strange. That was a strange thing about the Johnsons there, is what that was. Singer. I've been watching Heels. It's on, I think, Stars. It's about a small town wrestling. Stephen Amell is the lead. He's the guy that plays the Green Arrow on the DC show.
Oh yeah.
Basically, southern town in Georgia. They have a little independent wrestling league, and it kind of gives you a little little insight into playing the face, which is the good guy, and then playing the heel, which is the bad guy, and it's very interesting. And there's a little bit of nipple, but not too much. It's tasteful.
Tasteful amount of nipple.
Yeah. Like if the whole show is just titty, like write a fucking script for me, would you please? But if you do a little bit, just a little bit of realism, I'll eat it up.
I got the script for you. There's this pool boy, right? And he's just trying to clean the pool. Big old busty MILF neighbor needs her pool cleaned.
Oh no, my bag of dildos fell into the filter. Whatever will we do?
Well, ma'am, I'm gonna need to clean this out. That would be a good bit, actually. Like, you set it up like that, but then just the entire time he's just a fastidious pool cleaning boy. Like, does not waver from his task whatsoever.
They have
He's
those
got
already.
5 stars on Yelp.
That's true.
There's some dude that made a bunch of those videos.
He's just not having it. He's there to do his job, and come hell or high water, he's cleaning that pool filter.
Yeah, no, like the titles of those videos are like, pool boy goes over to recently divorced MILF's house and cleans the pool and does not fuck her. It's like stuff like that.
Just clarification, does not fuck her.
I like how on like Pornhub and stuff, like there will just be like straight up clips from like Call of Duty and stuff. It'll like be like unlocking, 6 desert camo, or whatever the fuck the good camo is. I should know this, but unlocking the good camo in Call of Duty or whatever. It's just on Pornhub.
What's the over under anyone is yanked to one of those videos?
Yes, Damascus. What was that?
What's the over under someone's actually yanked to one of those videos? Like just
unlocking
the camo.
Yanking is a Call of Duty fan.
It's gotta be a challenge, right? Like they eat cinnamon out of the spoon, right? It's gotta be a challenge.
Yeah, somebody does it for fun one way or another.
The desert camo bait challenge. You heard it here first, listeners. You have to get off desert camo.
So I've been off this whole week because my job,
am I right?
Pretty much. Yeah, getting off. But my job was, since I have to take my PTO in week chunks. I get 2 weeks of PTO, but I got to take it all at once since I'm part-time there for the moment. And so I took this whole week off, and it's fantastic. It's really weird not going to work when you're like a 5-day week. I've worked jobs where it's been like, your schedule's different every week, but now it's like, Tuesday through Saturday is work. But now then you wake up on Tuesday, 4:00 comes around, you're like, wait, I don't have to get out of bed. I can go outside and smoke a bowl.
Yeah, buddy.
Listeners, we're in Canada. It's legal.
Smoke weed every day.
I smoke fucking Delta 9, dude. Shut up.
Delta 8
question. CBD.
You raise a good point. Waking up on a work day and then not having to go in. What's considering money is no object, and if you had to travel somewhere, you could just get there. What would you do spending that day?
I have to travel somewhere?
You don't have to, but you could if you wanted to. You could just get somewhere.
Want to do.
What would your ideal day be?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Of
big
being
old
off of work?
depression nap.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that
dude.
that was also my answer, and I'm a little shocked that both of you also said that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Lights off.
Is there something wrong with us?
No sun.
Maybe have a nice
fan
on.
on.
Cry.
Well, I guess the difference, or like what kind of affects the answer, is like, do you then have to go to work the next day? Or like, is it like
a vacation
divorced
thing,
in
or like
time?
you just got told you don't have to come in?
Let's say this: whatever task you choose to do within reason on that day off, you have enough time to recover to go back to work. So if it's a vacation,
like
you have the travel time to get back in. Yeah,
a long weekend.
Free day with no consequences the next day.
Wait, hold on. No consequences.
Drug
so I can't be arrested either.
I said multiple times within reason. So if it's reasonable for you to get arrested, then feel free.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if there's no consequences, can I not be arrested for what I'm doing? Because in that case,
are you asking the cop to not arrest you? Or
we'll post Ben's bail. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Money's no object. I already said that. We'll pay.
It's not a good
you will get
day off
arrested,
until you end up in a cell
that?
after.
All right. I'm crashing my Lamborghini into Charles's house.
Why my house?
Could be fun.
Your house is
You
probably
and
the
my
most
neighbors.
like cinematic
Take
to
out my
crash
neighbors.
Lamborghini into.
Charles,
Fuck my
let's be
neighbor's
real.
house
Your-
up. My house can be the background. Come on.
Charles,
you don't
your
currently
house has
have a
already been
Lambo.
used in movies, so
You're not
it's
gonna
the
if
perfect
you
place.
crash your Lambo into my car, you're not making it, or into my house, you're not making it to a cell. I'm gonna tell you that right fucking now. You fuck up my porch, you're buried. You're gonna be 6 feet under that porch.
Hank is just munching on a bone when the cops show up. It's like, is that a femur? He's like, no, I got it at PetSmart.
Nah, you killed one of my chickens.
You don't even like
We
your
had a big
chickens.
chicken.
I like my chickens. I like them. This certain flock we have right now though won't come out of the coop, and we have no reason. They have no reason not to. So they don't want to see the sun ever. That's their prerogative.
That's funny.
You have meat chickens.
I do.
So do you?
I give them.
I think we've talked about this before, but like for the listeners, do you gather the eggs and like use them, and then when at the end of the life of the chicken, you harvest the meat, and then just the cycle continues? Like kind of how you...
So we don't butcher the chickens just because like we don't want to do that. We have to wring enough necks of like the chickens that are being dickheads at the beginning that it's like don't really want to. We don't have a place to butcher a chicken really either.
You can get it professionally done, right? But I'm sure it's expensive.
You can, but we also just sell them to the Hmong people down the road.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
and they love it when we come by because we bring them some big fat chickens.
You're utilizing the meat in some fashion, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean they'll eat it, and like for us, it's like we don't really. I mean, we can just go buy chicken breasts,
I honestly like dream about the future where like I have a big old chest freezer out in the garage, and then I, whether it's neighbors or whether it's other people or something, we just contract with a local farmer and just get like a quarter cow.
Oh yeah,
that's what I do.
That's the dream.
I'm jealous.
I've been doing that for years. When my cousin. I was at a wedding over this last weekend, and my cousin, it was a barn wedding, Wisconsin family. It's always going to be a barn wedding. But it's my cousin David's cows that we get our meat from, because he just has acreage and he keeps some cows there. He's got little kids and they like the cows, and then kind of teaches them the circle of life thing because like their dad hunts and stuff like that. But we just go to Wisconsin and actually today we went and got a quarter of a cow. So that's pretty nice. And that's a lot of fucking meat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A quarter of a cow is a lot of fucking meat. We have a full deep freeze. It's great.
That's the place to be.
But you got to get the tongue and you got to get the heart too.
When I was in college, we had a couple of big freezers in the house, and any of the hunters that we were friends with up there would just drop off venison, and we'd have venison burgers or tacos or flanks, whatever. Like, just so good.
How do you guys feel about bison meat? Have you had it before?
Love it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tougher than like
it is, and that's
tougher
the thing.
With a different flavor, but yeah, I think it's good.
I feel
it's
like
not
when
bad.
Would you
It's
say
not
it's
my
gamey?
favorite. I don't think it. I don't care.
I
if
think
it's
it is.
gamey.
That's the thing.
See,
Though,
I like when things are
like
kind of gamey.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
For me, I prefer to have it in like a thing that's built around that. Like I had a bison burger at a place in Colorado that like it was clear that they like took care into like what the flavor was and like the different like they had some sort of a spread or something on it. Yeah, they had a bunch of complimentary flavors in it. I was like, this is delicious. Like this is really good. But if I was just gonna have like a burger on its own compared to like a bison burger, like I think I would choose the burger.
You're not doing the bison burger with a couple of Kraft singles on there and some Heinz ketchup, and that's it.
Oh, God. I mean, what do you guys like? If you guys make burgers, what do you put on them?
So
like if you're making burgers at home, like what's your go-to toppings and fixins?
So we have a. Well, here, go ahead, Ben.
Mustard, onion, tomato, but only if tomato's in season.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I was gonna say I usually don't like tomatoes.
I don't
unless
like out of season tomatoes.
Like my neighbors.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And miss me with lettuce. Hate lettuce.
Depends on the lettuce.
And then obviously there's the other things like bacon, but then it's a bacon burger, so then we're getting beyond the point.
Let's say you can have cheese, but no other meat,
cheese,
no other
cheese,
protein.
Obviously. All right, that's mine. Onion, mustard, tomato if it's in season and cheese.
Let me tell you.
So that's pretty much like what you need to have on one. That's like if you're gonna have a burger at a barbecue, that's what you would want on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Once you open up into the world of the aioli, your burger will never be the same. We make a garlic aioli. We have at home and do like a mushroom Swiss on there. It's ideal. Very good.
That's your go-to.
There's a place. What's it called? Fucking D Spot.
Hamburguesa El Gordo.
D Spot.
Hamburguesa del Gordo.
They have great burgers and they have a great aioli.
What's the word? Is aioli isn't like the mayo stuff, right? What's the word
it's a
for
mayo
that?
base,
Kind of.
yeah.
It is okay.
It's a
that's what I'm
mayo-based
thinking of.
sauce.
Yeah, I love aiolis. Then my burger. I don't know if it's a big chain, but they have a few locations. They have like the Cajun aioli and the like jerk aioli. Like that stuff. Just like I need that on a burger too, like Nick was saying. And then some mustard would be good. Ketchup is for children.
That's right. We've been through this.
Pepper jack cheese. Otherwise, I'll take Munster. Is good as well. Grilled onions, and that burger's got to be pink, borderline red on the meat for me.
Interesting.
If the meat is high quality, if it's like cheap stuff, then I'll do it
if
longer.
It's like frozen, patties.
Yeah, I'll do it longer. But if it's good meat, good
I don't
quality
mind
meat,
those. I ate those for a long time.
I feel like
those are good burgers.
That can be really overwhelmingly juicy, though.
I love it that way. That's the way I prefer it. Like just just bleeding into your hands.
It's falling apart.
That sounds bad.
I prefer that more with steak because I feel like it's more. I don't know. That's more of the point of it, and then that's just like seems better with the cut of the meat. But I feel like a burger, really, you can get it all the way up to medium well done, and you're not gonna.
I'm very particular when it comes to the texture. And like the whole taste and texture is different if it's a little juicier for me. Like I don't know. It's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, for me, like I'm never gonna be like, oh, if it's a well done burger, I'm not gonna eat it. But like, I prefer more of a pink red center for sure. But it's easier to do that since we do like ground really nice meat and then make our own patties, so you can kind of get this. It's really because if you get like those burgers that like come from like Sam's Club or Costco and they're like the big tower of frozen ones with the parchment paper in the middle, those ones you gotta pretty much get well done because they just cook so fast. But when you got more of like that, you go to a bar or a burger joint and they got that tall patty going on, it's a lot easier to get that nice medium rare kind of center. I've noticed
those thin pre-done ones though kind of got me through college. That was one of my
those are
ramen.
Good.
Like they had a jalapeno like version of that burger with it kind of built into the meat, and it's probably not real pepper or whatever, but it tasted like it. And just you cook that up with some onions and maybe some bell peppers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you got those really cheap burgers, that's when you're just like, oh, I'm gonna just do this bitch up with put an onion ring on it with some barbecue sauce.
You taught me that philosophy when we were living together. With you get I wouldn't say cheap, but you just get like Red Baron pizza or whatever, and you get like some nice mozzarella and put it on there, or some peppers or whatever.
Get some like if you can get like full leaves of basil.
Oh yeah,
that's always good. You can. We always end up adding like some green peppers and olives and something like that. So, you can make a $5 pizza good.
Before we move on from burgers, though, I just had one thing on a bleeding burger that made me think of something that happened recently. So I work in a relatively rural area, and so there's not a whole lot of food options around. So my work will bring in, food trucks and stuff. And one time they brought in the local cattlemen association. So they raise their own cows, and that's the meat and everything.
Yeah.
And the food was good, especially the first time. This last time, I don't know what was going on. They just seemed grumpy, like the vibe was off or something. And so I'm like grabbing a burger from the stack, and like this had like already been like pre-done, and so I wasn't as concerned about what happened next. Because when I looked at the guy who was grilling, he had a fresh cut on his hand, and I'm just seeing blood, like as he's handling this. And I didn't want to make a scene about it because like these are just like local guys or whatever. I didn't want to like cause a panic, but I'm just like, come the fuck on, dude. Like you are serving food.
Can you
like,
walk me through that shit again? What did you see what he did when he kind of walked away, or like
No, I have no idea how the cut got there, but like I'm seeing him on the grill.
Yeah.
And so like I had just picked from like a stack of pre-done ones that had already been done for a while, and so I hope that he wasn't bleeding on those. But like I'm just like watching him grill, and like the bottom part of his palm is just like stained red. I'm just like
Yeah, the association your brain makes in your head will
Okay,
help out with.
I was gonna say, Charles is getting this point. I think. Did you see like a cut, or did you just see a red stain?
I mean,
that could be a bunch of stuff.
I suppose that's true. It certainly looked like blood.
Well, that, and you don't want, if you get the burger and it's like real juicy and like bleedy, and then you just saw a guy with a huge hand or a cut in his hand, you're like, oh,
right.
The association in your head kind of ruins your appetite.
Yeah.
Kind of what I was getting at.
Now,
so not
my preferred burger. Before we get on like past this, I don't know if this is cringe, but most of the time when I like eat burgers, I just throw mayo on it. I just have a little bit of mayo and maybe some chopped onions, and that's it.
I prefer that.
You take cheese at all, or
no? So for the thing for me, if I'm gonna put cheese on a burger, it has to, like, my mom keeps buying like the fucking Kraft singles,
yeah,
and I can't do those. It needs to be like actual cheese that melts correctly, and like,
yeah.
Because for some reason, like, I'm not a picky eater, but I really don't like those Kraft singles.
I like the block of cheese.
I love cheese. Yeah, that's what we usually do. But like, I don't want to sit there and like cut cheese up and
I feel that.
Do all that shit.
I like mayo. Yeah, mayo's. I mean, it's cliche like white guy topping.
Oh, I love mayo.
But mayo's
like
great.
Favorite condiment.
Yeah. On a burger, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of it on a lot of sandwiches. A lot of sandwiches that have mayo on them, I don't think need mayo. But burgers, I will agree. I think it goes well with the taste of the burger.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of sandwiches. I mean, they belong on quite a few sandwiches, but those sandwiches aren't like groundbreaking in flavor. Like you got ham and Swiss, right? You can do roast beef with mayo. That kind of thing, but like you're not doing like a buffalo chicken with mayo, right?
I always get a number 9 from Jimmy John's with extra mayo.
Which one is that? Is that the?
That's the nightclub, or whatever the hell it is,
right?
Or like the whatever they call it. It's like the late night or something like that. It's so good though. I've had a thing with mayo for a long time.
This boy like it mayo.
Yeah.
Well, there was a reason why I was really heavy all through school. I'll leave it at that.
The mayo.
I had a teacher that literally talked to my parents. It's like, man, he kind of put some mayo on everything. You should probably talk to him about that.
We should.
And then I didn't eat it for a long time because I felt bad about it. But then I went on keto last year, and I was like, fuck yeah.
We should make a short film about the boy who brought his mayo jar to school, and like no one wanted to talk about it, but like eventually he finds one teacher who's kind of a loose cannon, and they bring it up, and the kid respects the teacher, starts to respect himself or herself,
and then starts to respect the mayo. Eventually,
a little too much.
Yeah,
I could see that. God
and
damn
then
it!
They open up the jar at the end of the movie, and it's actually his cum.
Fuck, dude. Get out of here with that.
I have a penis for your vagina hole.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Fuck, dude.
Baseball fields, my feelings feel as I grip the steering wheel. You've listened to the Nut Zone. Here's a bit of Midwest emo. Whoa. Thanks for listening.